Celebrity conspiracies, dark secrets, and even mermaids. If any of those things caught your attention, buckle up because you're in for a ride. Welcome back to another video. I've gathered many disturbing videos for us to watch today, so make sure you stick to the end because you will not want to miss this.
Did you hear about the ship boat that's been missing for 217 years to be exact? And it was just found last week off the southern coast of Antarctica, and you are not going to believe what they found on board the ship. You can see it's almost perfectly intact. It does have a little bit of rustage there on the front, but it is baffling the scientific experts and the historical experts of how it got there, because it took off from England with mainly Scottish and Irishmen on board, and it was just supposed to go to the Africa. They were going to trade some spices and some woods, and then it just disappeared. So now they're like, how did it make it all the way to Antarctica and get stuck in the ice like this? Well, the reason why they found it is because there was a cruise ship that was a few miles away, and a guy named Jim Tenery had his binoculars on him. His wife was like, don't bring your binoculars, but he's like, I feel like I should bring them. And he had them. He saw it. They called it into the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard went and confirmed that it's the Europa, the ship that's been missing. When they went on board, they expected to see a bunch of skeleti, like human skeleti, just scattered all over.
Is that the term?
But what they
for
found is it changes a lot that we know about everything, and I'll post that in part 2.
So was there a Bigfoot warning? Yes, a Bigfoot warning prior to that 17,000-pound meteor traveling at a speed of over 45,000 pounds that struck eastern Ohio have anything to do with each other? And why do I ask that question? Because according to the map behind me, they had 5 different Bigfoot sightings roaming all over Ohio 5 days before the meteor hit by at least 10 different people. And each one of the accounts by the different individuals all sounded the same. They all claim to have seen something similar to what's in the photo above. Over 10 feet tall, furry, leaving gigantic footprints everywhere. And once again, we all use the term allegedly because there has been no proof at all of this, but it has been all over the news. I will step out of the way so you can pause and read this for yourself. Now keep this in the back of your mind. All of these alleged sightings all took place prior to the meteor hitting Ohio. To put a little more perspective on this story, this has been, according to record, the most sightings of Bigfoot, in any area at any given time. So I guess my question to you is, if these alleged allegations of Bigfoot sightings are real, was there more than one Bigfoot? And if there was, where were they all going? Were they trying to get away from the meteor that was coming? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And if you live in Ohio, give me your perspective on this. And as always, I'd love to hear.
Bigfoot and meteors. Bigfoot was sighted before this happened. That's actually crazy. What are the odds of that? This is either connected or just a huge coincidence. What do you guys think?
Finding Nemo isn't actually about finding Nemo. What if it's about grief? The theory says that Finding Nemo follows the 5 stages of grief, and Marlin goes through every single one. Remember when he was chasing the boat screaming, no, 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 into the empty water? And anger? Remember when he snaps at Dory? Bargaining? Every desperate plea to the ocean to give his son back? Despair? Remember when he gave up and he just decided to go home alone? And acceptance? When he was finally ready to let go. Now here's where it gets darker. What if Nemo isn't physically there at all? What if he represents Marlin's subconscious and Dory is his wandering mind guiding him through his trauma? So who is this journey really about? Pixar didn't say it was intentional, but the layers are there. Is it just a kid's movie or a story about learning to survive loss?
On Friday, a 19-year-old pilot in Florida had an engine failure while flying at less than 1,000 feet, forcing him to land on a busy road. And it was a glorious landing. On March 6th, 19-year-old Nico Bray departed Tailwinds Airport in Martin County, Florida for a local flight over northern Palm Beach. And roughly 13 minutes into this flight, the aircraft's engine suddenly began losing power. When this happened, it appears that he was only flying at 600 feet, so he couldn't make it to any nearby airports. He searched for somewhere to land and lined up with Indiantown Road in Jupiter, one of the busiest roads in the area, and at around 2:30 p.m., the small plane descended and touched down in the westbound lanes. As you can see, it was beautiful to say the least. He didn't contact any cars, no one on the ground was injured, and him and his passenger were completely fine as well.
I'm 72 years old. I come from Europe.
Does that sound like a
That's a little girl?
Yes. The Enfield poltergeist. This specific case is filled with many controversy revolving around like
If it's real or
if
not?
it's real or not. And then also it had a lot of
How's
actual
that even
witnesses like the
possible?
cops, neighbors saying they witnessed Janet, like the little girl, levitate. They saw furniture move by itself. And there's interviews of Maurice interviewing Janet, which was the scene that you saw in the movie whenever she's like sitting on the couch and then she starts getting possessed and starts speaking like in a different voice. So he captures Janet get possessed during an interview. And mind you, she's only 11 years old. So the voice that's coming out of her
Doesn't match her at all.
Come on, my name's Morris. Let me hear you say it. Morris. Say Dr. Belloc. Come on, let me hear you say that. Come on, let's hear you say Dr. Belloc. Could you close that door down? Say Dr. Belloc. Come on. Come on, say it for me, Dr. Belloc. Dr. Belloc.
that's supposed to be her or Bill.
I'm going to do it now. I can't do it now.
Does that sound like a
That's a little girl?
Yes.
I've got this church with me you.
Bro, there's no way that's a little girl. What the? Another thing, I don't understand why. So you're telling me the parents were like, okay, listen, you're gonna have to act like this, you're gonna have to act like this, you're gonna have to...
Lyme's disease is not natural. It's man-made and particularly government-made. And it's a biological weapon. In 1969, we were in the Cold War, and our government decided to just run experiments on its own people. And they decided to release hundreds of thousands of ticks that were dipped in a radioactive isotope. So it created this bacteria in the ticks. You can go look this up for yourself because the news won't report on this. Anyways, this is my driver. And I think the news should be a little bit separate from the state. Maybe that could solve a lot for us. We like to be in the know. I don't want to be the only one who's sharing what's in the know. It's a little stressful, honestly.
Disgusting facts about history that will make you actually want to vomit. This gets kind of gruesome towards the end, so please, trigger warning. You'll never believe what was happening under Anne Boleyn's dress in her coronation. Apparently, there were two ladies in waiting under her dress as she's being coronated, catching her feces to be sold overseas. Medieval times will never cease to, make me want to vomit. They apparently would buy feces from overseas, brush their teeth with it. You know the Palace of Versailles, there were over 36,000 people living in there, but there were under 100 toilets. So they would there would literally be women on the side of the road just relieving themselves. Often they didn't wear underwear for this reason. And it smelled of such poop. Mind you, they're pooping on the floors of the Versailles Palace, outside the palace. They are also brushing their teeth with feces, human feces. It just became too much. The queen decided to shut down the toilets. When this happened, people pooped even more outside, and it ended up having to be a thing where everyone took their poop and threw it over the wall, creating like a moat outside the gate, which actually their enemies, when war came, ended up using that moat of feces to climb over the wall and penetrate the city. Anyway, that was a very, very common thing. It wasn't just the royals, the Tudors. It was also the common people. They would throw their poop out of windows as well. We covered in another episode how they had mummy eating parties. They would eat mummies. They would search for them, excavate the tombs, and eat imagine some random people coming in from out of town and digging up your pop and deciding, you know what, I'm going to take pop to where I live so I can eat him. So I can unwrap him and eat him and use him for medicinal purposes and practically worship the mummies. There's so many things. It's just too much. And speaking of Anne Boleyn, I learned so much about her death that is actually traumatizing. Did y'all know that it took 4 blows for Anne Boleyn's head to come completely off when she was decapitated? And it's said that the king saw her crawling and ordered yet another one. I don't know if that was the 4th or 3rd. I don't know. And what's so sad is one of the very last things that Anne Boleyn did was order a gown for her daughter to make sure that she was warm in the winter. Like, that whole story is so heartbreaking. I'd have to do a video on it. As always, make sure you like and follow. Comment down below what you think.
The mayor of Louisiana SA'd a drunk 16-year-old boy. Former mayor of DeRidder, Louisiana, 43-year-old Mitzi Roberts, stocked her fridge with alcohol for her 16-year-old son's birthday party. Mitzi's son's 16-year-old friend was sitting by the pool extremely drunk. This is when Mitzi went up to him in her bikini and started flirting with him. Then she started heavily making out with him. Mitzi also took some inappropriate photos with this boy and then took him into the house and upstairs. Mitzi proceeded to tell this 16-year-old boy that he knew what he was doing, and then started taking all of her clothes off. Mitzi then SA'd this boy. The victim said that he doesn't remember much because he was heavily intoxicated. He said that his head was spinning and his eyes were closed the entire time. Mitzi's son was incredibly mad at his mom and even filmed Mitzi SA'ing his friend through the window on his phone. Mitzi told her son to be mad at his friend instead of her because he was the one who came on to her, which isn't even true, but even if it was, Mitzi is 43 and he is 16. Mitzi is clearly the adult in this situation. Mitzi's younger daughter was also crying at the birthday party, asking people to make Mitzi and the victim stop doing what they were doing in the bedroom. Mitzi also DoorDashed a Plan B pill to her house the very next day. Mitzi has not been sentenced yet, but faces up to 17 years in prison, which I honestly do not think is enough, but what do you guys think about this?
Did you hear that the world's top scientists found the center of the Earth, and it's in Armenia? And I'm not talking about the core of the Earth, of the sphere, but the center of the crustage that goes around the entire Earth. And they said on this exact spot in Armenia is where all the magnet poles waves all collide and join into one. And what they were super shocked, but they said not surprised, is that there's a water feature here, and they said the water content is full of iron, and that's a magnetism attractor. And so they said as the magnet poles collide, it shoots the water up. This puppy, they say, can go up to 1 mile up in the sky, is the record that they've seen it had. And what's crazy is no one's ever known about it. The local residents in the area said that they've never heard about it. One guy that lives in the area, Ardon, said, hey, I've seen it, but my family had a story passed down from generation that they thought that the Armenian god Targan poked a hole in the earth in ancient times, and that's what causes the water to shoot up. But I think it's really cool, and I want to visit it. I'm curious if you'll put this on your tourister list.
Is all of this planned in advance, long in advance? Like, I'm talking decades ago. You may be thinking, what are you talking about? This is the scene from the Atlanta airport this morning of a 4-hour wait to get into the freaking security line because the TSA, right now, it's a partial government shutdown. So none of them really are getting paid. And so what's happening now, though, is you saw the movie Leave the World Behind, right? The planes are falling out of the sky. What if that was like an allegory for air travel being no longer a thing? Because while here, there's these massive waits, there's massive delays, 6-hour delays of planes not being able to fly on a clear sunny day because of just all these different problems. The question is, on the other side of the world, there's all these cancellations, but it's due to fuel. It's like the perfect storm happening right now. And if we know anything about the little bit of a plan they might have for 2030, it involves, let's just say, there being less air travel. You know that the airlines, too, they're all losing a ton of money over all this. And apparently their margins are already pretty slim because they weren't hedging fuel costs. So as the fuel cost goes up and these insane delays happen, like all these companies might go frigging bankrupt. Now, if we can just release Nikola Tesla's technology, we wouldn't be in this problem at all. But it seems that there might be a bit of a plan going on. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more. Now, I can say it's likely getting weirder. It's going to continue getting weirder, as who was the guy who said it's going to get weirder and weirder, and then all of a sudden people are going to go, what the Sam Dam's going on? I think it's of utmost importance in human history right now to be of sound mind and sound body. Detox, fertility, brain function, energy. Right now, Chalk is giving away free $100 bags of the organic heirloom cacao from Bolivia, the chocolate powder, which is super detoxing and delicious. And if you combine that with the hot water purified shilajit, you're getting some of the most potent adaptogenic superfoods in the natural world. Comment free below and check your DMs.
Whoa, the OnlyFans owner passed away today. He was only 43 years old. He died from cancer. So they announced, "We are deeply saddened to announce the death of Leo Radvinsky. Leo passed away peacefully after a long battle with cancer. His family has requested privacy at this difficult time. As of October 2025, his net worth was $7.8 billion. So that's just saying, like, you can have all the money in the world, but if you're sick, it doesn't matter. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends. He really changed the entire industry."
Quick pause. If you're still watching, it means you're enjoying this video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe while you're still here. That was it. Let's get back into it.
Have you ever heard about the Tygon well? This is it right here, and these are its babies. It has over 100,000 babies, and it carries them in its mouth to safely protect them. And other fish species do that, but no species of whale. They said about only 2 of these guys will survive to 1 year old, and so the fatality death rate is quite high, but it's quite cute that you can see that they're going inside mother's mouth just to get the protection, and I think we all want that sometimes.
Can the government actually use frequency to read your mind?
Hey everybody, so I have finally received like direct confirmation through the Epstein files that there are organizations that use ELF waves or extra low frequency waves and radio waves and microwave technology to neurally monitor people. Like, there is technology in existence. You want to talk about conspiracy theories? It's no longer a conspiracy. There is technology in existence today and in use today that can read your mind through long distance radio wave technology. The people that are victims to this, they're called targeted individuals. And they target children, not just adults. They can sexually stimulate your body by exploiting your nervous system. And they can do this using like the 5G radio towers. I don't know if you guys have like heard the conspiracies and stuff like that from like way back, how like 5Gs would be abused. But if you're wondering why you're not mad enough, my theory is that it's from these 5G towers that they can alter your psychological chemistry, like your nervous system's chemistry, to prevent you from getting angry, to prevent you from feeling happy. They can make you feel sad, and they can also make you feel sexually stimulated. It can come from your TV, it can come from your Wi-Fi router, your cell phone, everything. But now we have direct proof. I'm going to put the Epstein number in the caption below. But what I'm doing is I'm getting parts this Saturday, and attempts to build like a radio that should capture and parrot the signals that people get bombarded with, because that way the courts can take us seriously. But now we have direct proof that these weapons are in use.
There are so many pictures in the Epstein files that deserve to be investigated, and really a picture is worth 1,000 words. This is one image out of at least 100 that I found in just one document, one file within the 3 million plus Epstein files. And it's disturbing to me. This appears to be 2 victims, 2 survivors of Epstein's, doing some shopping for what looks to be a whip, toys, costumes. And we don't know how old these victims / survivors were when this picture was taken. And we also don't know who was taking this picture. But right next to the image in this photo set is a picture of, once again, what I'm assuming is a survivor / victim, and this young man. I don't know who this guy is, so if you guys could identify him for me. I tried doing some reverse image searching on him. I couldn't find anything. That would be very much appreciated. But Epstein was overtly sexual. In the same photo set, there are pictures of what people online are calling a titty cake that was served to Epstein, which goes to show that even simple things like baked goods in Epstein's life were turned sexual. And that's because the people around Epstein knew that he was a sexual guy. It was impossible to not know that just looking at the pictures of his properties, of his baked goods, of his days out shopping. So for people to sit there and say that they had no idea that Epstein was ever even potentially doing something like what he's been accused of doing, that is just a flat out lie. Just look at the pictures of his properties, look at his daily life, and tell me that if you weren't surrounded by this stuff, you wouldn't suspect that your friend was into something.
Justin and Hailey Bieber would look like this without the fame and wealth. This is AI generated, so let's go through more celebrities. I'm gonna give this one like a 6 out of 10. I feel like Haley's may look a little bit accurate, but that doesn't even look like Justin. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, why is this so accurate? It's a 10 out of 10. Like this 100%, if he didn't do football and he wasn't physically active, I could see him looking like this. And Taylor, country girl, I see it for her. Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner, why did they do them like this? No, this gets a 2 out of 10 because Timothy, I think Timothy would look the same whether he was famous or not. Kylie Jenner, I don't think she would ever look like that. This is maybe even a negative 2 out of 10. Kim and Kanye, I can see this. This is like a 7 out of 10. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, this gets like a 10 out of 10. I can definitely see if they were not rich and famous, no Botox, nothing, they could probably look like this. It's pretty accurate. A$AP Rocky and Rihanna, they basically look the same. They're both still beautiful, so 10 out of 10. Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder still looks good in this, so I'm gonna give her like a 9 out of 10. Johnny Depp, if he lets himself go, like if he was never a movie star, maybe. So maybe I'll give it like an 8.5 out of 10. Chrissy Teigen's looking like a librarian in this, and John Legend actually looks the same. I think this is pretty accurate. 9.2 out of 10. Beyonce and Jay-Z, they actually look pretty much the same as they do now. Jay-Z looks tired in this. He looks like he's been working hard. He looks like a tired dad. Beyonce looks like maybe she's a school teacher. I'm gonna give this like a 9 out of 10. I'm sorry, just this one is sending me because it is so inaccurate.
Have you heard about the snake rains that happen in Indonesia about this time of the year, usually late March, early April? And what happens is the monsoon vortexers usually goes over the Indonesia, and it has a ton of snakes there. And so it picks them up, they spin around, they said, for a few days, and then it drops them all when it dies down and the weight of the snake is unbearable to the weather. And so you can see them dropping down. A lot of them die of fatality deaths when they hit the ground, but some of them live, and they believe the ones that live are blessed of the gods. It's been an ancient tradition that they've had forever. So they gather up the ones who have lived, and they make sure that they stay fed, and they reintroduce them to the wildernesses. And so I don't know, this would make me want to move because I wouldn't want snakes falling down on me, but I'm curious what you think.
Palm Beach Pete is not Jeffrey Epstein. Here's all the proof we have so far. Now, this all starts when somebody recorded a video of someone that looked just like Jeffrey Epstein driving down the freeway in Florida. But then the person came out and said, hey, I'm not Jeffrey Epstein, I'm just Palm Beach Pete. And you know, the more we looked at him, we were kind of like, you're not fooling anyone, Jeff. Especially when we compared the teeth. I was thinking they look identical because, I mean, look at the way that they bend. He could have had some teeth, surgery, but everyone's saying that the teeth are actually not identical. I don't know, man. You gotta admit, those are pretty close, but let's go ahead and say that the teeth are not identical, okay? Let's say these are different teeth, but they are pretty similar, I'm just saying. I mean, there are other angles when you look at the guy and you're like, okay, maybe he's not Jeffrey, He does kind of look like a different person. Now, the weird thing at first is you couldn't really find anything on this guy anywhere before, a week ago. And what's interesting enough is when you search Palm Beach Pete, there's a whole nother Palm Beach Pete that pops up. And if you look at the comments, people are recently already making insinuations because he hasn't uploaded in 10 years since 2016. But this is when things get weird. So there's this Palm Beach Pete that I found, but then there's also this Palm Beach Pete. Now, I don't know, this is just him younger, but I mean, is that even the same person? Is that the same Palm Beach Pete? I don't know, man. How many Palm Beach Petes are there? Because then we got Epstein Pete, or Palm Beach Epstein Pete. And then we got like younger, refined Russian spy looking Palm Beach Pete. And then we got old man Palm Beach Pete. So who's the real Palm Beach Pete? And I did a deep dive on the first Palm Beach Pete, and his name is Peter Simmel. I found some Getty images of him from back in the day. So you can see, he's been around for a while. He does have a history, and he doesn't look like Epstein, although that looks like a Rockefeller, whoever that is. And I will peep, this man's been getting to the money. Look at the wrist. AP on the wrist. I also was like, notice his shirt said Island, Stone Island. I was thinking like something about Island, but it turns out this is just a brand, and it's like actually super expensive. So bruh's been touching the cheddar, and it is written that he was like in real estate and stuff in like 2011, Peter Simmel. So if that's the same guy, then we might have his origins figured out, and we can safely say that he is not Jeffrey Epstein. But conspiracy theorists will talk, and a lot of these crazy conspiracies ended up being true. So what do you think? Who's Palm Beach Pete? Is it Epstein in disguise? And what happened to the other Palm Beach Pete? And the other Palm Beach Pete? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. My name is AT. I cover news on the internet. I just got banned at 5.7 million followers because they're trying to silence me. So please like and follow so I can get back up, and I'll see y'all in the next video. But this is crazy.
This is a lot to take in, but I need to know what you guys are thinking. The picture of him younger looks nothing like him, but there's a lot of connections between him and you-know-who. Is that him? Or is it just a huge coincidence, a doppelganger, if you will? Because that could be a possibility, but let's be realistic here. Everything lines up, the locations, the voice, The nose, the teeth, the eyes, everything. What do you guys think?
Meteor just crashed through a woman's house in Houston. NASA has officially confirmed that a 3-foot wide space rock weighing about a ton came ripping into the atmosphere over Texas at 35,000 miles per hour. The explosion itself released the energy of 26 tons of TNT, and people all across Houston heard massive booms and felt their entire houses shaking.
Vibration. It was very it was silent, but the house was definitely moving.
But this is where it gets wild, because this woman named Sherry James called the fire department because a chunk of that meteor punched through her roof, through her 2 stories, and landed in her kitchen. She said that her daughter's bedroom did get hit, but luckily nobody was in the room.
We heard a big boom, and when I was in my bedroom, and I didn't know what it was, so I said, it's coming out my daughter's room.
But this is the part that most people don't know, because NASA released a debris map showing fragments scattered across 12-mile stretches of North Houston. Neighborhoods like Champion Forest, Cypress Wood, and Cypress Station are all in the zone. Guys, meteorites can literally sell anywhere from $2 a gram to over $1,000 per gram, depending on the type. So now we literally have half of Houston walking out in their yards with magnets trying to find a retirement fund in their yard. And honestly, I can't even blame them. If a meteor randomly landed in your yard, are you calling NASA or are you calling a dealer? Scientists just filmed one of the rarest creatures on the entire planet, which is a giant phantom jellyfish, by the way, and it's only been seen 118 times in over a century. This is literally insane. Earlier this month, researchers exploring a submarine canyon off of Argentina sent down a remote-operated vehicle about 253 meters deep. They actually captured footage of a giant phantom jellyfish, and it looks like it's straight out of an alien movie. In 110 years of deep-sea exploration, this species has only been spotted about 118 times. That's not even the craziest part, by the way, because the jellyfish is massive. Its main body is over 3 feet across. And of course, why would it just be a regular jellyfish? Because it's in the deep ocean. They're saying that it has 4 ribbon-like arms that can stretch up to 33 feet long each. That's longer than a school bus. And they're saying that unlike most jellyfish, it doesn't have stinging tentacles. Instead, it wraps the giant arms around fish and plankton like a living net. We have an alien world basically living underneath our ocean. Scientists actually believe that these things are all over the planet. We just can't see them because we can't get down there. Dude, can we please explore the ocean?
I've never been more convinced that mermaids are real after watching this video.
This is a hagstone. They say
These
that
are
when you find
real
a stone
stones,
with a
y'all.
naturally made hole in it from the ocean, that you can look through it and see the mermaids and the fairies on the other side.
Perfectly cut
There is magic
circle.
all around us.
Watch this, y'all. Are those mermaids jumping off that beach? Oh, I can't even
Tell me this
explain
doesn't
that
look
one.
like there was a mermaid sleeping here. Like, look at that.
Definitely
Did I just find a
mermaid-like
mermaid
tail, for
imprint?
sure.
I had to have, right? Tell me there wasn't a mermaid right here.
Wait, is that a little fairy house?
¿Cómo se llama? Buenas. Hola. Bueno, thanks to the
That's definitely a little fairy house.
Most obvious fey trap I have ever seen. I'm gonna go touch it.
Be careful. Stay weird.
This video is flooding the internet right now because apparently this man came in contact with a siren and started trying to go into the water to live there. And as you can hear him screaming, "Where are you? Where are you?" in the video, he genuinely tried to go in the ocean and unalive himself. Well, he wasn't trying to unalive himself. He was just about to drown himself trying to go there. This was eerily similar to that creator, Ashley Inc., I think her name is. She did a video about one of her followers that gave an anonymous story where he ended up learning from his dad that was in the Navy. He had seen a siren and they had caught one when he went on some kind of illegal expedition, apart from the Navy, that is. But he was just trying to put food in his family's mouths. And he spoke of them having to wear these earmuffs so that they can't hear the singing. He didn't believe it until he actually saw the siren, but there were guys that would kind of had their earmuffs off of their ear and they would be trying to jump off the ship and have to be held by the other ones, and other people were vomiting and throwing up. Absolutely insane stories. I'd have to do a longer video on it. Let me know in the comments if you want me to. I'll put it on my YouTube. But yeah, y'all, do you guys think that this video was real or fake?
A new FBI report from the Epstein files has revealed that huge amounts of paperwork were shredded just 6 days after Epstein's 2019 death at MCC in New York. I'm going to read the crisis intake document from the FBI that comes directly from the Epstein files to you, so you're not just reading sensationalized news reports, but the actual document. There's a lot of redactions. I know it's annoying. Bear with me. Redacted is a federal corrections officer reporting misconduct. He works in MCC, New York, Federal Bureau of Prisons. CEO has never seen this amount of bags of shredded documents coming out to be put in the dumpster at the rear gate of the MCC. Last week, Epstein hung himself, and there is an ongoing investigation. There was a BOP after actions team that come, and they are supposed to review what happened. Redacted. There was an inmate named Inmate. He is a redacted worker. Another inmate who works back there who helped the other inmate, I'm guessing, is redacted from the same unit. He helped Redacted throw the bags of shredded documents into the dumpster. Redacted was bringing back bags of shredded papers, around 4 or 5 bags, and Caller brought them into the gate to throw into the dumpster. Redacted told Caller that the after action team is shredding huge amounts of paperwork. Caller found it suspicious that an after action team charged with investigating would be shredding huge amounts of paperwork with all of the officials from AIG, FBI, and BO in the building in the middle of an investigation. Those giving instructions to Redacted said, make sure you get that box too. The next day, today, Friday, August 16th, same inmate Redacted brought another bag of shredded materials, and Redacted said they had him helping to shred the material. Today he reported that he has to do it because he doesn't want to get in trouble if he refuses. He said they were very nice to him, but they wouldn't let him leave the area. The dumpster containing all of these shredded documents gets picked up Monday. Redacted reports that if anyone cares about what was shredded, it needs picked up before Monday by 8 a.m. Redacted stated that one of the staff employees said, "This isn't the first time I've had to do things like this." Thursday was the first report of shredding by Redacted. Redacted reiterated that inmate witnessed the shredding, not Redacted. So this is definitely problematic, to say the least. We don't have a reason for them doing this. We just have the document saying